Hello everyone, this is Orlando from My Collector's Dream. Today I'm outside. There may be some construction going on next door. I'm at my mom's place right now, so hopefully bear with me, but I'm going to start off by showing my Marsan's card that I picked up. So go ahead and take another look at that. That was just the card I've been looking at for the last couple of weeks since I got it, and it's just a beautiful card. So what we're going to do today, though, we're going to go back to the Hager book. And we're going to finish off the series of pre-war. We're going to go ahead and just, this is the Hager's book. That's the one I've been using. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and see where we ended up here. And we're going to go ahead and just fill in the, what we have missed. So this is where we were at last time. We were at the batter up. So we're going to start with this, with the batter up cards first. So let's take a good look at this set and give you guys a close-up so that you can kind of read some of it along with me here. But the batter up set is from 1934 to 1936. It was issued in 1934 by the National Chicle Gum Company of Springfield, Massachusetts. The front of these are die-cut black and white cards and are tinted sepia. It could either be gray, light green, pink, and light blue. So all cards come in all the colors. So you can see now, if you wanted a master set, you know, each one comes in all these different shades of pink and light green and light blue and sepia. There's 192 cards total in this set. And at the bottom of the card are the words batter up, which is followed by the player's name and position. The number of the card is the same area but to the right. The reverse is blank, and the collector could actually fold the card down and the top part of the card so the player would stand up on his own. They're printed on thick pressboard paper stock, and they're this is a very popular series, and Topps copied the style with their stand-ups in 1965. The set is loaded with all kind of greats of the era, and it's pretty tough to find. It says cards 1 through 80 were issued in 1934, while cards number 81 through 192 were issued in 1936 in a smaller width and in fewer numbers, which accounts for their higher prices. So you can see the differences here. The first series that came out in 1934 were a little bit bigger, a little bit different size. They were 2 3/8. I'll show it here. 2 3/8 by 3 1/4. And the second series were 2 1/8, a little smaller, by 3 1/4. And that's what they look like. And some of the stars in this series, again, it's a 192 card set. So there's a lot of, Hall of Famers in there, from Al Lopez to Pie Traynor, Lloyd Wainer, Mel Ott. Jimmy Fox is one of the big cards in the set, along with Lefty Gomez. You have Charlie Garinger, Lefty Grove, Bill Dickey, and you can see on and on and on. Rogers Hornsby is in there. Rabbit Moranville. You have the Hank Greenberg rookie card in there. Let me get a close up there. You have the Hank Greenberg rookie card. And going on to the second, the higher series, the higher number ones, you have the Jimmy Fox, which is really one of the big cards in the set, along with the Lefty Grove, the second series Lefty Grove, and a few other guys here, the Bill Dickey, and some kind of rare ones, the Vernon Gomez and the Dizzy Dean. And the Dizzy Dean is another real popular one there in that series. So bear with me, there's some construction going on next door, but we're going to move on to the 34 Goudey set. And 34 Goudey is the R320. It's a set of 96 cards, and those were issued by the Goudey Gum Company of Boston, Mass. They're silkscreen cards featuring an action pose or portrait of the player, and the player's name is printed at the top. You can see up the top, and at the bottom is either a strip that either says Lou Gehrig says or Chuck Klein says. The latter commands a premium because those are the higher numbers, the higher series, with the Chuck Klein says. The layout of the black and the back of the cards includes the top left with the you can see it here. The back of the card has the name of the player and a description of the player, and then it's followed by a short biography of the player. Then it says the Lou Gehrig or the Chuck Klein, and then it says Big League Chewing Gum on the back. So the key to this set really is the Lou Gehrig cards, and there are two different ones in this set. One of them, of course, is the portrait, which is just a beautiful card, really the most beautiful card in the set, and then the other one is more of a batting version of it. So we'll take a look at some of the players that are in this set here, and you can see there that you've got the Jimmy Fox, which is card number 1, and then you have the Dizzy Dean, a few other Hall of Famers like Chuck Klein, Frankie Fritsch, Lefty Grove, and then you have, of course, the Lou Gehrig card number 37, which is really one of the big cards in the set. Then you also have the second Lou Gehrig. This is how it says Lou Gehrig says, and then this is the one that says Chuck Klein says. So out of the 96 cards, card number 61 is the other Gehrig card. And then you also have the Hank Greenberg card, which is real popular in there in the 1934 Goudey. And the high series, you got the Kai Kyler and the Jim DeShong, which is the last card in the set, which is generally a tough one to find because it is the last card in the high series. So that is the 1934 Goudey R320 set of 96. They're 2 3/4 by 2 7/8, just like the 34 Goudey set. Now you also have the 34 Goudey Canadian issue, and those were issued by Worldwide Gum in Montreal, Canada, and they were the agents for the Goudey Gum Company in Canada. The color set is about 20 times rarer than the U.S. set. So again, this is a set of 96 cards, just like the American, but they were issued in Canada. And in the back, it does say, I'll share it here, it does say Montreal, Worldwide Gum Company, Montreal on the back. So these, again, were much rarer than the Goudey because they were in Canada, distributed in Canada. It says cards 1 through 48 have the same format as the 33 U.S. Goudey, and that's the cool part of it, because it is a set of 96 cards, but half are in the 33 Goudey version look, and the other one is the 34 Goudey look. So going on, it says that they're both portraits and action shots of the players in this set. The player's name is at the top, and the Big League Chewing Gum or Worldwide Gum is at the bottom. And then the other ones, the later series cards, have the Lou Gehrig says on them there. So the difference is that, again, this set is from Montreal, Canada, and half of the cards look like the 33 Goudey, and the other half of the card looked like the 34 Goudey, but they were all distributed in 1934. It's the V354. Again, same size, 2 3/8 by 2 7/8 as the Goudeys, but it's a different checklist. So if you take a look at some of the players on this set, you have the number 1 card is Rogers Hornsby. You got Rabbit Moranville, a few other of the big guys, but what this 34 Goudey set has, it's a Babe Ruth card, which the American Goudey set does not have. Because again, this one is going to look like the 33 version of it. So the first half of the cards were more like a 33 cards, and then the second half was the 34. So you do have a Babe Ruth, which is the big card. You do have a Tris Speaker and a few other cards in the series. And then later, you have the cards that look more like the 34 Goudey cards. And again, you have the Bill Terry, Lefty Grove, Dizzy Dean in there. You have the Jimmy Fox, and a few other guys. And the big card there is you have a Lou Gehrig, but the Lou Gehrig here looks like the 34 Lou Gehrig instead of the 33 Lou Gehrig. So this is a really, really tough set. And if you're looking for rarity of Goudeys, the 34 Goudey set combines the rarity of both the 33 and the 34 Goudeys, and includes a Babe Ruth card and a Lou Gehrig card. So again, this, based on this, it says it's a very rare series to find any grade in the U.S. And purchase a Hornsby, Moranville, and it talks about the ones you should buy on there. They're tough to find. So a tough series, the 34 Goudey Canadian, the V354. The next series is a really, really cool series, really, really interesting. It's a series that a lot of YouTubers have really fallen in love with, and that's the 34 through 36 Diamond Stars, the R327. And this is a set of 155 cards. But you also have, again, kind of two different series that were produced there. And I'll share with you how these were kind of done here. So the 33, 34 Diamond Stars were issued between 1934 and 1936 by the National Chiclet Gum Company of Springfield, Massachusetts. This is one of the Art Nouveau style cards. These are like Art Deco style. Back in the 30s, mid 30s, this was the style. And if you know anything about the South Beach area, that's when the buildings were built, and they were built in that Art Deco style. So these is called an Art Nouveau style cards, which feature this type of color and line, and in this case, they're silk screen. These are portraits and action poses. The year can be determined by the player's stats on the reverse. Also note that the cards with backs printed in green were either in 34 or 35, while the cards printed in blue in the back were done in 1936. The words on the back and on the layout follows Diamond Stars, card number, player's biography, stats, player's name, and caps. The cards are printed on thick pressboard stock. And here is a key here. It says the cards with a single asterisk come in years 1934 or 35. Cards with a double asterisk come in all 3 years, and cards with a triple asterisk come in the years 35 to 36. So you can figure out the distribution here. The book will kind of give you a good idea of when these cards were printed, because they were printed in 3 years, 34, 35, and 36. So you can look at the Lefty Grove here, and then you see that. And most of the ones in the first series were printed only in the 34 and 35. So you can see by the asterisk, Lefty Grove has one asterisk. So that was printed in 34, 35. And again, some of the big cards, the Lefty Grove is one of the big cards of the set. You have the Bill Dickey, Mickey Cochran, Pie Traynor, Al Lopez, and a lot of other major league, stars of the day, like the Han Greenberg. And there's two different versions of the Han Greenberg. So if you look at the set, it's really a complete set at 108 cards, 108, but it says 155. And the 155 is because of some of the, the Lombardi has two different versions. Greenberg has two different versions. And if you go a little further, there are also some proofs. And they count the proofs as part of the set here, as you can see. But the numbering ends at 108. And then you have the proof cards, which go to 120. And then along with the rest of the errors and duplicates, a master set would be 155. But again, some of the big names here, you have the Bill Dickey, and a few other guys. The Jimmy Fox is also a big name in that set, and a few others. So anyway, that's the 34, 35 Diamond Stars set. Very popular. The R327, again, distributed during out 3 years. Now, we're going to get to a point here where the war comes out, and there's going to be less cards produced. So, but so far we're back into the Goudeys, and now you have the 1935 Goudeys, the R321, and some people call these the 4-in-1s, and that's kind of what I remember them being called. It's a set of 36, but again, it's a set of 36 with different backs, so that's where the set really extends a little further out there. But they're actually 36 fronts, and that's kind of what we're going to go by over here. They're 2 3/8 by 2 7/8, the same size as all the other Goudey cards, and it's a set of 36. It was issued in 1935 by the Goudey Gum Company of Boston, Massachusetts. The cards are very unusual as they include players in color of 4 players from the same team on each card. So not all of them have it, but most of them it's the same player. You can see that it's all in the Braves. This is all the Pirates. And they do have different borders. They have the red and the blue border. So it says they come in red or blue borders, with the blue borders about twice as rare as the red. Each is part of a puzzle. There are 9 puzzles. A particular card is part of one of the 9 puzzles. The puzzles include Al Simmons, Chuck Klein, Frankie Fritsch, Jimmy Fox, an Indians team, Mickey Cochran, a Senators team, and the Tigers team. The cards are collected by value by the player for the players appearing on the card. So, and they are on thick cardboard paper stock. So if you look at some of the cards here, and you could look at the back, this is part of the puzzle, what the back of the puzzle would look like. And again, this has a few big cards, but the real big card here really is the Babe Ruth card. Most of the cards are relatively inexpensive. You do have the Hank Greenberg card, which is expensive, and the Dizzy Dean card also. So those are relatively expensive, along with the Kai Kyler. But the big card in the set is the Babe Ruth, and the Babe Ruth comes along with the Rabbit Moranville because it's a Boston card. So the Babe Ruth is the big card there. You do have the Paul Wainer and Lloyd Wainer, both of them on the same card, which is cool, and the Bill Dickey card down here. So pretty interesting set, really a cool set with a lot of different backs. So this is the again the 1935 Goudey R321. Moving on, next comes the Schutter Johnson. And the Schutter Johnson is really a kind of an odd ball set because it doesn't have any pictures of any of the stars or anything like that. It's all kind of like little drawings of the different things that the players are known for. So you can see the Mickey Cochran as a catcher showing the signs. But the Schutter Johnson, the R332, is a 2 1/4 by 2 7/8. Again, it's pretty standard, a little bit different size than the Goudeys, but pretty close to it. The Goudeys are 2 3/8 by 2 7/8. So issued in 1935 by the Schutter and Johnson Candy Corporation. These are candy cards of Chicago and Brooklyn, New York. The front of the card features a drawing of the player set against a red background. The top, says Major League Secrets. This is the back of the card here, Major League Secrets, and it talks a little bit about the player and the secrets that he wants to talk about. And in this case, is the finger things in there. So the cards are printed on thick press board, and they're difficult to find in any grade. It's considering its rarity, the set is very moderate priced. There's 31 Hall of Famers in the set, and we'll take a look at some of those now. Again, not a very popular set, but you do have a Lou Gehrig in there. You do have a Babe Ruth there, and Dizzy Dean, Mickey Cochran, another Babe Ruth. You have a couple of Babe Ruths there, and a few other big name cards. But really, it's not a popular set because it's just basically a drawing, not a real player photo. So we're going to move on now to the 1936. Again, apologize for the noise. They're doing some type of construction next door, and just some action. A lot of things happening here in the lake. I'm sitting by the lake, so there's a lot of there's the kids paddle boarding out there. You can see there's some kids paddle boarding. It's just a gorgeous day in South Florida, so a lot of people are outside and they're kind of enjoying the day, but there are also some people working next door. So anyway, back to our 36 Goudeys. And the 36 Goudey was issued in 1936 by the Boston Gun Company, again, of Boston, Mass. And this is a set of 25 cards. They're unnumbered, and they're black and white cards. And the set includes 8 Hall of Famers. And this is kind of like a game card, and you can see how it says, you know, balls and outs. So it's kind of like a little game card. The cards have a player's portrait on each card with a facsimile autograph signature printed across it. It's a 1/4 inch border around it, encloses the card, and at the top and the bottom of the card in the back is a word, you know, ball or foul or out or something like that, which describes a particular situation. And there's a brief biography of the player at the center of the back, and then it has a like a quick little thing, what a pop fly, what different things mean in the different in baseball. So you can see that. And as far as the player selection in this set, it's a you don't have too many of the big names. They're not very valuable set, but it is a little bit tougher to find. You do have a Mickey Cochran, Kai Kyler, Hank Greenberg is in there, which is probably the biggest card in the set, and Rick Farrell, Lefty Gomez, Paul Wainer, and Chuck Line. But again, it's a small set, 25 cards. It's actually, you know, it's a pretty easy set to build, but there's not any of the big names in there, you know, like the you know, Lou Gehrig's or anything like that. So moving on to the 36 Goudey Premiums. Now, I showed one of these the other day, the Al Lopez, and these 36 Goudey Premiums, in my opinion, are probably one of the most undervalued, underrated cards out there in the market right now. And the reason people don't like them is because they're kind of big. They're premium, so they're almost postcard size. But they're very tough to find, and there's some big cards in there, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But 36 Goudey Premium, the R314. They're issued in 1936 by the Goudey Gum Company of Boston, and the set is known as the wide pens. So that's how you're going to recognize them, the wide pens, because the autographs that are on there like a wide pen, almost like a marker, you know. So they're known as the wide pen in the industry because of the thick style of the facsimile autograph signature. There are 120 black and white cards in the set, including 25 Hall of Famers. The front of the cards feature a player's portrait, and at the bottom, across his portrait, is the facsimile signature. The backs are blank, and they had to have been more than one printing. Some cards have borders, some do not. Some are glossy, some are not. So, you know, but they're all figured as 1936. Again, they're 3 1/4, but they're 5 1/2, so they're big cards. And there's a set of 120. Now, one of the big cards in this set is a Joe DiMaggio, what's considered here Joe DiMaggio rookie card. And that card also it's a horizontal card, and he's featured with Joe McCarthy. But it's a 1936 Joe DiMaggio, and it's $800. Well, not anymore, but, you know, considering the rest of the cards in the set, you know, they're all pretty cheap. They're all under $100. And what he says here is, it says, where can you get a Joe DiMaggio rookie card for so little? That would be the cheapest Joe DiMaggio rookie card you can get, the 1936 Goudey Premium, the white pens. So moving on to the 1936 Goudey Canadian. Now these are really tough card to find, the Goudey Canadians. And these are the V355. It's a set of 126 cards. They're smaller than your usual cards. They're 2.5 by 3, so they're even smaller than the actual Goudey cards. Issued in 1936 by the Worldwide Gum Company of Granby, Quebec. So they were in Quebec. This is truly the rarest of all Goudey sets ever issued. Perhaps only 4,000 to 5,000 cards survive today. The gray and white 1936 Goudey set is rare in any grade and very undervalued. The front shows the player in a pose enclosed by a 1/4 inch white border. And then at the bottom, it has the number and the name of the player. The layout on the back is as follows: the card number, the player's name, his team, biography, and stats. And in French, it also describes it in French. So you can see there it has both English and French description. And it says Worldwide Gum of Granby, Quebec, printed in Canada. Really a tough issue to find. And there's some pretty big cards in this set. You know, there's the Dizzy Dean card, which is very tough kind of card to find. You have Bill Terry, Paul Wayner, Chuck Klein, and then you have the big card, which is the Hank Greenberg. Really, is probably the toughest card in that set to find, and the Bill Dickey. But you know, like it says here, is the rarest Goudey series, 40 times rarer than the U.S. Goudey set. So the 34 Goudey Canadian, tough set to find, the V355. Now, and the rest of, sorry about that. Forgot about the rest of it because the big cards are coming up now. So it's a set of 126, 2.5 by 3. And the big card here is the Joe DiMaggio and the Lou Gehrig. So 1936 Goudey. This is what's considered the toughest and rarest Joe DiMaggio card around. It's the V355 Joe DiMaggio, considered a rookie card here. And as you can see by the price compared to everybody else, it's way above. There's the Kai Kyler and all that. And the other big card here in that set is number 96, which is the Lou Gehrig. A gorgeous black and white picture of the Lou Gehrig, the rarest Lou Gehrig. And Mike, baseball collector, that's really, other than the DeLong, that's the toughest Gehrig card, the Canadian version of the Goudey, 36 Goudey Canadian. You have a lot of other Hall of Famers and stuff in there, but again, it says that in the many cases here, it says he would buy the Dean, the Dickey, the Hornsby, the Greenberg, the Cochran, the DiMaggio, Gomez, Grove, Gehrig, Mack. And it says fewer than 100 of each cards exist today. So fewer than 100 of these cards exist today. Moving on to the 1937 Goudey movies. This is a very unpopular series. This is just kind of like a little movie clip. It's a little book. It's a flip book. And I'm not going to get too much into this because I consider this more of a book than anything else. But it's the R326. And it's really kind of a way to show the players in motion. And the big card there, as you can see, is the Joe DiMaggio. And, you know, that's pretty much it. There's 26 cards, and there's really not too much interest in this set. So I'm going to move on with that. Next, we got our extremely popular set, which is the 1938 Goudeys. This is one of the most popular sets, especially among the YouTubers, because it's just a beautiful set. It's called the Big Head, or the Heads Up set. 1938 is a R323. And issued in 1938 by the Goudey Gum Company of Boston, Mass., this series is commonly referred to as the Heads Up series. The set was a continuation of the 33 set, which ended in card number 240. So this set starts with card number 241 and goes on to card number 288. There's only 48 cards to this set. And the front of these are superimposed cards featuring a picture of the player's head on a hand-drawn cartoon-type body. And at the bottom is the player's name in bold capital letters. The reverse features a card number at the top, featured by the name of the player and a description of the player. And then the Big League Chewing Gum at the bottom. And then it says that made by the Indian Gum Company. So these cards have two different versions. So there's one that has what they call the cartoons and one without the cartoons. So going on, you'll look at some of the names on here, and let's highlight some of the names on this. Are the Charlie Gehringer. The big card, of course, is the Joe DiMaggio. And there's two different Joe DiMaggios. There's the one with the plain back. And even here, they would call that one a little bit cheaper than the one with the with the scribbles. So the one with the scribbles is always going to be a little more expensive than the one without the scribbles. So who are the big names here in this set? You've got Charlie Gehringer, the Jimmy Fox, the Joe DiMaggio, Hank Greenberg, Bobby Doerr, Al Lopez, Ernie Lombardi. You got the Bob Feller, supposedly it's called the Bob Feller rookie card. Jimmy Fox, again Joe DiMaggio, the Hank Greenberg, Al Lopez, because you have the different version, the Bob Fellers, one with, you know, the white background and one with the background with the scribbles. The scribbles is really worth more. So moving on to the next series, and these are more kind of oddball type, bigger ones, and these are the Goudey Premiums. And the Goudey Premiums, there's two different versions of Goudey Premiums. There's the large and the small versions of the Goudey Premiums. So this I'll go over quickly. The Goudey Premiums, pretty much you can see what they look like here, large and small. They're very big cards, 4 3/4 by 7 1/4, set of 24. And really the big name card there is the Joe DiMaggio. And other than that, they're all Hall of Famers, but nothing really big, no big names. Hall of Famers here, you got the Joe DiMaggio and you got the Bob Feller. The rest, you know, Jimmy Fox, you know, the rest is kind of minor. So I'm going to skip that. Then you also have the small version of it. Again, the same thing. It's just a little bit smaller version of the cards. And again, the big ones are the same ones that we talked about there, the DiMaggio, the Feller, and so on and so on. After that, we move on to the 41 play ball. And 41 play ball, again, another one of these really, really cool cards, which I really like, even though it's black and white. These were issued in 1939 by the Gum Inc. of Philadelphia, and it was the first year of the play ball series. With a larger size and better photos, this issue marks the beginning of the modern card. It was 2.5 by 3 1/4. So now we have more of a kind of a standard modern card series. They're black and white, and the front feature a full-size player's pose, and the top left, and then in the back, it's got the number, the name, the name, the information on the player, and a bio of the player with Play Ball American at the bottom. And there's, let's see, there are some variations here. I'm not going to get into all the variations, but it's, you know, just a few variations and oddball stuff there. A lot of these are kind of minor stuff. So, but anyway, very popular set. Beautiful looking black and white images. The big card here, of course, is the Joe DiMaggio here. And there it is there. The Joe D is the big card in the set. That's really pretty much it. You don't have any other big names. You have Bill Dickey, Vernon Gomez, and a few other guys. But really the Joe D is the big name, along with, of course, forgot the Ted Williams. So you have the Joe DiMaggio and the Ted Williams are the big cards here. And we'll share some of the other guys here, but you can see the Ted Williams. Down here is the two different versions of it, but the Ted Williams is the big card along with the Joe D. The rest are pretty, you know, on a pretty, you know, nothing big. Some Hall of Famers, but no big names on here. And what he recommends here is just go with the DiMaggio and the Williams. Secondary, Dickey, Gomez, Ott, Gehringer, and Hubble. But out of 162 cards, most of them are basically commons. So go with the two big names there. Now, the following year, Play Ball did a little bit different thing. They brought in some retired old name Hall of Famers, and that makes the 40 Play Ball set very popular, because it has some big name, you know, retired Hall of Famers like Shoeless Joe Jackson. So 1940 Play Ball is a set of 240 cards, and now you're going from getting, you know, small series of cards, 40, 50 cards, to 162 from the Play Ball to 240 card set in the 1940 Play Ball. So the sets become bigger, and this is the R335 1940 play ball. Issued in 1940 by the Play Ball Company of Philadelphia. It's the second year of the popular series. The fronts featured a black and white photographs of a full-size player's pose inside a picture frame. And you can see the picture frame on there. At the bottom is the player's name in like a little plaque, and it has like a little glove and the batting things in the bottom there. The back has the name, the number, the name, and a little biography of the player, and then it talks about the play ball on the bottom. There are some differences here because some rarer ones versus non-rarer ones. And the set that was issued in New England is difficult to find in other areas. This set, like the 39 set, had a high number short print run, and it also has in the back, some of them say Superman gum card, if you can see in the bottom there, Superman. Search for Superman gum cards. So, who are the big names in this set? Well, the Goudey, of course, and the Ted Williams. Those are the two big names as far as the modern, playing days era type cards. You do have, again, the Hank Greenbergs and all that, which are popular. But the Joe DiMaggio, which is card number 1 in the set, the Ted Williams, and then you have the retired Hall of Famers are the popular ones in the set. Like the Shoeless Joe Jackson, and some of the other Hall of Famers in there, like the Honus Wagner. Some of the retired Hall of Famers, you can see them there. They've got the Tris Speaker, you've got a Honus Wagner, you've got Nap Lajoie, Johnny Everett, you got a Christy Mathewson in there, you got a George Sisler, and a few other guys in there, including a Walter Johnson, Pete Alexander, Robert Pete Alexander, and Jimmy Fox again. So some plain days, a mix of plain day cards with a mix of retirees makes this 1940 play ball set pretty popular and pretty expensive, especially if you're going after the Joe Jackson and Honus Wagner. But again, the DiMaggio, the Williams, those are really Joe Jackson are the big cards in that set. After that comes the 1941 double play, sorry about that. 1941 double play cards. And those have 2 players on the card. Sometimes you'll find those that people will cut them, trim them. It happens sometimes, but these are the R330. It's a set of 75 different cards. And they were issued in 1941 by the Gum Company of Philadelphia. Because 2 players were featured on each card, they were called double play. And they are 2.5 by 3 1/8, pretty much a standard sizes now. And they were he believes that because of the shortage of paperboard at the time, that they would put 2 players on there versus 1 player. Now you're getting into the era where there was paper shortages happening due to the war. But the big cards in that set, there's a set of 75. The big cards, as you can see, are the Ted Williams, the Joe DiMaggio. You can see Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, and another Ted Williams. There's a few different Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, based on the combination of how they were done. But that's pretty much it on that one. I'm going to move on quickly because this video is getting long, and we're going to try to finish up this series, which we're almost done, believe it or not. We've got a few more pages. We got one more page to cover. So we got 31 play ball R336. Again, another one of the beautiful cards from the play ball series. This was in 1941, a set of 72, 2.5 by 3 1/8. And these were issued by the Gum Company of Philadelphia. And they're very popular because, again, they're color. And that kind of gives them a different look. The front of the card had the same format as a 1940 set, except the color photos exhibit a full-size player's pose and the player's name and the plaque on the bottom. It has the player's name with the plaque on the bottom. I apologize for this noise over there. It's a beautiful day in South Florida, so neighbor is working, cutting up some wood there. But this is the set that is very, very popular. You can see what they look like in the back and the front. We're all familiar with this set, and the top cards in the set again are going to be the Ted Williams, the Joe DiMaggio. Those are the two big boys in the set. But you also have Hank Greenberg. The Pee Wee Reese rookie card is in that set, along with other major leaguers like Bill Dickey and Lefty Gomez. But again, Joe DiMaggio, you know, you got Mil Ott, Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams and Hank Greenberg are the big guys you're looking for in this play ball set of 72 cards. Also in 1941, Goudey made their final series, and that was the R324. And this is the last year of this popular series. Due to the paper drives and wartime restriction, Goudey could not buy paper cardboard at reasonable prices and was forced to use recycled rag paper. This is the main reason Goudey went out of business. The fronts of these action black and white pictures come with blue, green, and yellow backgrounds. So this set is not very popular. It's very, very poor quality. No big names here other than Mil Ott. And they're blank backs, unnumbered cards. So very unpopular cards. But there's a few name guys here. Carl Hubble, Mil Ott. Again, 1940s, early 40s. Now we're in the era of the United States where we're in war. We're in the paper drives. There's no paper out there to buy cards. They can't make cards. So from 1941, hold on a second, from 1941 all the way through 1948, there were no cards produced, other than a few oddball issues. So there's nothing in 1942. 1943, there was a small set, the MP and Company, which is a horrible looking set, horrible looking pictures, horrible looking paper. And this was one of the few sets produced during the war years. The quality of the cards are poor, and it was difficult to acquire paperboard during the war. The fronts of this horizontal and backs vertical pictures are generic drawings. Again, poor quality during the war. They were on rag pressboard paper stock, the cheapest of the cheap that you could ever buy. So you do have some names in there like the Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams, but they're really, I hate these cards. They're just terrible looking cards in my opinion. If you like them, go for it, but one of the cheapest and more poorly made cards. I mean, you even have some that the player is, you know, not I mean, they don't even look like the player. So from 1943 on, all the 1940s, again, nothing was made. There was some oddball issues like the Bond bread with the Jackie in there. And, you know, won't get into that, but mainly it was a Bond bread issue, only with Jackie, different versions, portrait batting and so on. Be careful with these, they were reproduced in other years. But from 43 to 1947, there was nothing produced. The Bond bread, Jackie comes in. Then you have some other issues like the Tip Top bread, you know, that started at that time, 1947. This has the Yogi Berra rookie card. And then after that is when you get, you know, the post-war issues, 1948 Bowman and Leaf and so on, which really is no more pre-war. So anyway, guys, that covers the pre-war issue completely. Boy, 45 minutes of video. Thank you so much for watching. Truly, truly appreciate it. That is my series of Collecting Prewar. I'll leave it at that. And thanks for watching. Go back and look at all the different series. I'm going to hit the 1800 cards, 19th centuries, in my next series. So I'll catch you on the next one. Have an awesome, awesome day. This is Orlando from A Collector's Dream, hanging out in South Florida. Beautiful day. Hope you guys have an awesome, awesome day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.